What's up everybody, we're back with another DIY video, and in this video we're going to be working on the Companionway stairs. This is actually part 2 of this series. The first video is going to be in the description below if you're interested in starting from the beginning. Now behind me is what I currently have, and I'm going to be continuing the work on that right now. This is our boat now.
Oh my god.
So what we have here is just a piece of 1/2 inch marine tech plywood. It's a marine grade building plywood. It's not a finished plywood, but it works pretty good for this application. Now what I have to do now is cut away all of this excess glass, sand it all down, sand the top, maybe sand the bottom, and then I have to start prepping it for glassing on the supports that are going to support the actual steps right here. Alright guys, so it's all been sanded now. I'm not 100% sure which side I want to use for the stairs. I'm thinking maybe this side, but we'll see. Now, a lot of people in the comments down below were saying that I should have sealed the edges here. And the reason why I didn't do that in the last video was actually because I needed to do this. I needed to come through and sand down the edges. And I knew that if I would have put epoxy or something on the edges there, when I came and sanded down the excess fiberglass like I just did, it was gonna sand off the epoxy anyway. So I do plan on sealing the edges here. We're actually gonna be fairing them with fairing compound and epoxy and everything, so it should be pretty well sealed up and waterproof. So that's definitely in the plan. Alrighty guys, so this is what we've got. These are the supports that are going to be going in the places that I've marked here. Obviously I made a couple mistakes, but they're going right there, just like that. And what I'm going to do is actually screw each one of them from the back twice. So I'm going to put 2 screws in each support. I'm also going to have them glued down here with thickened epoxy. Then I'm going to do a fillet with thickened epoxy around each one. And then I'm going to glass over the whole thing. So these supports are just going to be bomb-proof. They're not going to go anywhere because they're going to be glued, screwed, and fiberglassed onto this backboard here. So I don't want to have an issue where we come down the steps and the steps break while we're at sea or whatever, because that's just a recipe for disaster. I just basically pre-drilled everything so that all I have to do is attach the screws now. So I actually got these back in Port Charlotte at a local lumber yard there. With the square head, these are a lot harder to strip than a Phillips head would be. They're meant for wood, they're wood screws, and they're 3/16 stainless steel, so they're perfect for using on a boat. I love them. Alright, so this one's pretty simple guys. I'm using some West System epoxy here, 105 resin, 206 slow hardener, and I'm just going to be adding this 406 to thicken it up and make some thickened epoxy to bind these supports down. And I'm also going to be making the fillets out of this 406. I'm also going to be using these craft sticks I got at the craft store actually, and they work really well for fillets because they have this round edge right there, and that will give you a nice radius for that fillet. Alright guys, I think these are going to be good and strong fillets. I think the glass is going to lay over them pretty good, so pretty happy with that. Now my next step right now, I just need to let this dry, so I'm going to let the epoxy and the fillets dry. Then I'm going to come back through here and I'm going to round these edges right here. I'm going to leave these ones sharp because I'm not going to be glassing over them like that. The glass is only going to come up, around and over, and then down and back this way. So the next step is to round these over, and then I'm actually going to grind away a little bit of the fiberglass right here so I can really tie in these supports to the structure of this backing plate. So let's hurry up and wait for this stuff to dry. This is what we currently have. These are the future steps, but This fillet is now dry, and I also went ahead and just sanded and rounded off this one corner. So this is what I'm going to do to all of the corners right now. I'm going to sand everything. I'm going to sand kind of a depression right here so that the glass has something to tie into, and when I fair everything down it'll be flat. But I'm going to sand this side, I'm going to round this corners like this. I'm going to sand this side as well. I'm just going to generally do that to all of these supports to prep them for some glass. There's not going to be any glass right here. This is going to get thickened epoxy, and this right here will be glued to here. So let's do it. Alright guys, so this is what the supports look like now. I've gone ahead and sanded down, you know, these sharp curves, so hopefully the fiberglass will be able to conform to these supports, and then the fiberglass should be able to go down over the fillet as well. And then I sanded around, and I sanded kind of a millimeter divot, and you can see even like right here, I went all the way through the laminate that's already on here. I stopped as soon as I hit it, but basically what I'm trying to do is sand enough of this laminate away so that when the new laminate gets laid up, I can basically have it, I could sand it down and fair it down so that it's smooth and the new laminate is tied in with the old laminate. If I didn't sand these divots out, then I would either have a hump right here that you'd be able to see, or if I tried to sand it all away, I would end up sanding all the new laminate away in order to fair it. So now it's time to cut some new fiberglass so that I can start laying glass on these supports, and let's get them tied in here permanently to the backboard. So I went ahead and cut all the pieces that I'm gonna need. This is just 1708, chop strand on one side, biaxial on the other. It's the same stuff I used for the top and bottom of this board. I'm just gonna glass these like that, just like that. You'll see this on top. And this down there. Perfect. Look who just came home. I want to walk through this mess. Okay, so the plan was to glass all the way around these supports, but the glass was just not conforming to that top radius right there. So rather than mess with that and screw something up, I just left it be, left it open like this. The glass had no problems conforming to the side, to the bottom, and to this interior radius, so I still got everything else glassed on these supports. That all looks good. It's just that this top radius right here on these supports is not glassed at this moment. I'm not sure if it's even necessary that I go back and glass that, but that's certainly a possibility. I may just sand it all, smooth it out, fair it all, and I think that would be more than good enough here, because I mean this is basically a giant tab for all these supports, and it's glued, and it's filleted, and there's 2 screws on the back, so I think it's overbuilt the way that it is. I don't really know how much strength or really anything glassing that top radius would even do. And you won't notice once it's all faired and painted, it's all just gonna be white, so I don't know. I may go back and glass that, I may not. I'm not really sure right now, but I think this looks good. I think I made the best out of the situation. Now we just gotta wait for it to dry. So I am going to be sanding some fiberglass. This is all dry now. These are like daggers, they're super sharp. But I've got to go through and sand everything down and get everything ready for fairing. So let's do it. Alright guys, I think that looks pretty good. Got everything nice and level so that there isn't excess fiberglass right here. Basically sanded down all the excess fiberglass everywhere, so on the corners, on the tops, and I think we're ready to start fairing. I gotta go in and take a shower to get all this fiberglass dust off me, but once I'm done with that, I'm gonna come back out here and we're gonna put our first layer of fairing compound down. Also, I've decided I'm not going to wrap the tops of these supports with fiberglass. So I'm just gonna leave it as is. I believe this is gonna be more than strong enough. These are very, very strong supports. They're glued, screwed, and basically tabbed in on each side all the way up to here. So I don't think adding the glass on top right here is really gonna do much of anything. For fairing, I'm gonna be using West System epoxy, slow hardener, just some sticks for mixing, some trowels from Home Depot for spreading, some plastic cups, and US Composites fairing compound. I like this stuff and it's not too expensive. First, I want to say I don't by any means consider this to be a perfect or really even that great of a fairing job. I am a beginner at fairing, so this is what I have come up with. I plan on doing multiple layers just so I can get it good enough so that I can paint it and it'll look good. But for now, this is what we got. The good thing about fairing is you can do as many layers as the job requires or as your skill level requires, because every time you do a layer, you fair it, you sand it, and it just gets better with each layer. So basically you could just keep fairing until you're happy with the result, and that's what I'm gonna do here. That's gonna be it for this week's video, guys. Hopefully in the next video, I'll finish fairing this thing and get some layers of paint on it. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. I try to get these DIY videos out as much as possible, weather permitting and the situation permitting. So speaking of the situation that we're in, within the next couple months, hopefully we should have the perfect situation to get a lot of work done on Freebie. We're really excited about it, and I hope you guys are gonna be excited about the amount of work that we're going to be doing as well, so stay tuned. As always, guys, if you enjoyed this one, please leave a like, leave a comment down below, subscribe if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell if you want to know each and every time we drop a video. See you guys.
I've got it right and I got it wrong, but I